Many readers approach Genesis 2 as if it's a second, contradictory creation myth or an irrelevant story about a garden. But the text signals a specific change in focus. The shift is cinematic. Genesis 1 provides the wide shot of the universe being made from nothing. Genesis 2 zooms the camera right down into the dirt, focusing exclusively on the specific details of day 6. As the focus narrows, the name for the creator changes. In chapter 1, he is called God, a title for his universe-bending power. In chapter 2, he is the Lord God, a personal name reflecting a creator who seeks a close relationship with his people. Before centering on humanity, the chapter establishes a rhythm of rest. God rests on the seventh day, not because he is exhausted, but because the work is perfectly finished. There was nothing left to add, creating a pattern for people to step back and honor a completed work. This structural map reveals 4 foundational pillars of the human experience: identity, purpose, freedom, and society. These are the components of the original environment designed for human flourishing. By examining this specific design, we're forced to look past modern cynicism and reconsider our views on work, boundaries, and how we relate to one another. In the first chapter, God spoke the stars and oceans into existence from a distance. Here, the process is tactical. God forms the man directly from the dust of the ground. Then he breathes his own life into the man's nostrils. This establishes a dual nature, a physical body made of earth, elevated by a spiritual soul given directly by the Creator. God then places the man in the Garden of Eden, not a wild jungle, but a curated environment with abundant water and precious stones and trees producing delicious food. It was a space designed specifically for human life. There is a very common assumption today that labor is simply a curse, the result of a broken and stressful world. However, the narrative places Adam in his role before any conflict or failure is introduced. He is explicitly tasked with cultivating and keeping the garden, showing that this vocation was part of a perfectly designed environment. Carrying the breath of God gives human life a sacred dignity. In this original design, productivity is not a burden to be avoided, but a way to manage and honor what God has created. Along with all of this abundance, God sets one specific boundary: the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Adam could eat from almost any tree in the garden, but this one was restricted under the penalty of death. This illustrates the mechanic of choice. Adam was not created as a programmed robot. He was given an expansive space of movement defined by a specific perimeter. The restricted tree acts as the necessary variable. For genuine free will and obedience to exist, there must be a boundary that offers an alternative to God's instructions. Up to this point, everything in the creation has been called good, but for the first time, God identifies a problem: Adam's isolation. God declares that it is not good for the man to be alone. God brings the animals to Adam to be named. This establishes Adam's authority, but it also highlights what is missing. While every animal has a mate, none of them share Adam's spiritual nature or offer true companionship. To solve this, God puts Adam into a deep sleep to perform the first surgery. He takes a rib from Adam's side and fashions it into a woman. The choice of the rib carries very clear symbolism. God does not take a bone from the head to rule, nor from the foot to be trampled. He takes a bone from the side so they can stand as equals. In this narrative design, moral boundaries and human equality are established as primary components of the world, intended for protection and social harmony. Upon waking, Adam immediately recognizes her as his match, describing her as bone of his bones and flesh of his flesh. This reunion establishes the original pattern for marriage, a lifelong covenant where a man and woman leave their families to become one flesh. The chapter ends with an image of pure vulnerability. Adam and Eve are both naked and feel no shame. In this state, there is no guilt, no sin, and no isolation from each other or God. By zooming into these details, we see that we are not cosmic accidents. We are intentional creations, built for sacred dignity, designed for purposeful work and profound connection.